If it is or if it ain't, it's going to come out. Good morning, everybody. It's your girl, Miracle Sims, and you're listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. It is September the 8th, 2022, and today the topic is Don't Rush the Climax. Friends, those of you all that are watching me live, y'all may have realized that your girl started this thing at 6:30 this morning. No, I didn't wake up late or nothing like that. It's just that all the things that my mind was engulfed in during this study and prayer meditation and everything like that. So, yeah. I don't know if y'all thought that I wasn't going to come or whatever the case is, but here I am. And, I know it's after the usual time and everything like that, but I just was like trying to make sure that I was understanding what I was receiving. And yeah, so it's a whole thing. I'll get into that in a moment, but I don't want to start this juice without talking a little bit about yesterday. Basically, long story short, I must have gotten a little bit of rest after I did the juice, because I remember waking up to, I guess you would say, like several things that would be like good news. So basically, one of the first things I saw when I woke up again yesterday morning, after I did the juice, is I got a message from my dear friend, Miss Summer Kai. You guys have seen her on GSL numerous times. She's done a one-on-one chat with me, as well as been on a few of the panel discussions and everything like that. She is the owner of Skies Designs, and just an overall lovely lady, creative. She's an artist, entrepreneur, so many amazing things that this lady does. Well, anyway, I had a beautiful message from her yesterday morning when I got back up. And just a morning greeting or whatever. And in my opinion, it's like she kind of spoke over my life of like what the day ended up being. So yeah, man, shout out to her this morning, thank and praise God for her and everything like that. Powerful lady with a powerful testimony. And, to God be the glory for all things. So that was one of the first things that happened, or, beautiful moment. And then after seeing her message, I saw that I had a message from Mr. New Frank. So y'all may have noticed him on GSL before. He's the author of The Helpless Man Theory. We have been in communication over the past few months, and since that conversation, since the first episode that we did with him, we have been in conversation, and we were talking about doing a show with him, and hopefully we will be doing it one day and everything like that. But obviously, y'all know that he was teaching overseas, and so he was transitioning back here into the States, and there's a lot, obviously the man has to do a lot of getting resettled and all kinds of things, right? But we were talking about doing a show, and I feel led to share part of this testimony, so I'm going to share part of it. I might not share all of it because, again, some of the stuff might not be y'all's business. But if I share part of the testimony, basically, yeah, we talked about a show for him, and then we discussed the rate, because obviously, I have to pay my editor, but y'all let me go ahead and just shout him out as well. Y'all know Boomer Smith is my guy when it comes to editing and whatnot. And so, I'm talking to Boomer about what it's going to cost and X, Y, and Z. And so, long story short, Mr. New Frank decided to, pay in advance, right? So he pretty much paid in advance. And so, I'm doing what I need to do on my end. I'm getting things together with Boomer, everything like that. We prepared to go, like whenever he's ready, we gonna move forward, right? And but lo and behold, at the moment, it seems like, he let me know that he might not be able to do it right now. And, and I understand that again, because I understand he just got back in the States, X, Y, and Z. I'm here and available whenever he wants to do it. That's fine. But the reason I'm sharing this with you guys is because I just told y'all that he paid it advance, right? But instead of this gentleman asking for like a refund or anything like that, he pretty much lets me know that he wants to sow into GSL. So, that is being used to further GSL, and keep things going, and everything like that. So I just wanted to give him a shout out this morning and show him some love for that. I truly, truly appreciate it. Whatever I can do in the meantime, between time of us getting to your show together and everything like that, Mr. New Frank. I got some ideas swirling, so I'm gonna see what the Lord do and what I'm able to do. But the least I can do right now is to give you a shout out and say thank you for one being willing to, help to have me help you produce your show, right? And for us to even be in this position and whatnot. Thank you for that. But then also thank you for sewing into GSL. Thank you for believing in us here, and everything like that. And it does help. Everything helps me, because obviously y'all know that all I'm doing is hustling from home. This is all I'm doing right now for the most part. And so, so God be the glory for that. I just had to shout him out this morning, and to not go unrecognized for what he did, because obviously that is helping keep things afloat and whatnot. And he didn't have to do that. He could have just been like, look, give me my money back. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, to God be the glory for those blessings. Another blessing that's been in my life is this lady named Miss Karen Shirley. I think I told you all about her before. Every now and then she might hit me up for some help, or hit me up for, an opportunity, or telling me about this or that opportunity that I could do. And so yeah, again, that happened yesterday as well. She reached out to me about a potential book client, and I spoke with this lady, and she's very excited about us working together, and who knows, it might expand beyond that. So we're gonna see what the Lord do with everything. But I wanted to shout those three individuals out, because yesterday I feel like they both, or all three of them, were significant starts to my morning after I did the juice. And good, yeah, like I said, shout out to Summer Kai, right, from Miss Summer, for speaking all of that into existence in a way. Like, she kind of was, that morning greeting was like a blessing, and then next thing I know, I'm having all these amazing conversations and whatnot. There was some conversations I had outside of those with some other people, and things like that. But yeah, I definitely wanted to just take some time to shout out those three, and thank God for each and every one of them, and pray blessings and whatnot on them and their endeavors as well. And I'm excited. I'm excited about what the Lord is doing with everything. So with that being said, y'all, let's get into the juice this morning. Because I'm not gonna lie, man, I was a little bit distracted, like both yesterday and this morning. I want to say I might have been like a little skosh tired when I woke up, and heard my alarm like, it's 4, but that didn't last too long. So basically, all I can say is this was happened, y'all. This is what happened. I I was distracted a little bit. I, did a little scrolling on social media, got up, used the bathroom. I know that might be TMI, but I'm just telling y'all what happened. So I got up, used the bathroom, came back, turned the light on, X, Y, and Z, waking myself up. And then, might have got on social media a little bit more, just scrolling and seeing. And then, at some point before I started the prayer meditation, I don't know if it's a phrase, but the prime time came into my mind. Prime time. And I'm like, okay, Lord, prime time. I'll look up that, I look up some definitions, X, Y, and Z, when I get there with the prayer meditation. So I did a prayer meditation, and it was good. I don't really remember it, but it was good. I was distracted a little bit listening to it. I was thinking about a bunch of different things while I was listening to it. And this study of prime time didn't help with me remembering it. But yeah, like, it was a pretty good prayer meditation. And I started to look up after that the, prime time. I'm like, okay, let me look up the definition. Let me look up these verses, X, Y, and Z. Now I'm reading the verses and they weren't necessarily resonating. I'm reading the definition and I get what it's saying. It pretty much was like, oh, prime time is a certain time of the day with like TV, basically, is what it was saying. And I just was like, okay, and they were talking about a certain time or whatnot. And so that had me looking up all kinds of different words. I'm looking up busy. I'm looking up, busy time. I'm looking there's so many different words and phrases that I was looking up trying to get an understanding of why the Lord told me prime time this morning. And I was like, did I hear something wrong? Like, was I not supposed to look that up this morning? Like, it got to the point, where it was well after 5, and I just was still like stumped. And then I had to take a moment and just do my whole question to the Lord, like, hey Lord, can you show me, what I'm missing here, and everything like that. And I kept feeling like prime time was confirmed in my heart and mind, but then it just was something else. And so I kept looking up on the thesaurus and looking up other ways to say prime time and all of this. And there's all these different words like accumulation and all of this. And I'm like, okay, Lord. And then ultimately I got to the climax, and I'm like, okay, well, that's kind of funny because, y'all, this is GSL, so obviously climax can mean anything, right? So I'm like, that's kind of funny, but, try not to just dwell on that and everything. And so all I'm saying is this: my mind was just so engulfed in all of this, and I was just I was confused. I was like, I don't know if I received this right this morning. I don't know if I was supposed to look up prime time. I don't even know at this point. And then eventually, after the prayer and after, I guess, this being revealed about the climax, as I started to write the verses down that stood out to me, because the interesting thing is, after I did all of that and I went back to the verses that I found for prime time, then things started to make more sense, and I had a little bit more clarity and whatnot. So I started to write those verses down, and then that's when I felt like the Lord was telling me, don't rush the climax. And I was like, oh, okay. And it started to make some sense and whatnot. So let's get into it, y'all. Let me share with you guys these verses and what I feel like the Lord has revealed to me this morning regarding all of this stuff. These verses are long too, so here we go. All right, so Ephesians 5:15 through 17 says, look carefully then how you walk, not as unwise, but as wise, making the best use of time, because the days are evil. Therefore, do not be foolish, but understand what the will of the Lord is. Now, this ain't unfamiliar. I feel like I probably done shared this verse before somehow in the past 2 years of me doing the juice. I mean, maybe, but I don't know. I guess what stood out to me this morning, and what led me to go ahead and move forward with this was, as I was doing these studies, and there were verses that were standing out to me, and it led me to go deeper, and I ended up reading the entire, I guess you would say, book or chapter or whatever the case is with those particular verses. I started to kind of get the feeling about, or basically I was seeing things that was talking about God's judgment and things being exposed and all these different things, which I'm like, hey, I know definitely if anybody, again, in this season, like me, you've been real pilled, you're waiting for certain things to happen, right? And a lot of it does have to do with exposure. And so, if you're on the right side of history, as they say, then you're looking for the evil side to be exposed and everything like that. And that's a whole nother thing and rabbit hole all by itself. But, but that was the thing, because it wasn't necessarily resonating and meshing at the time, because I'm like, okay, I see what you're saying about exposure and, and what's done in the dark is going to come to the light and all those different things. I get that. And I'm like, okay. But then I was like, but prime time, though? Are you trying to say this is a prime time for this to happen? You know what I mean? What am I getting here? And, basically after all the things, I guess for me, I'm seeing this morning that, this verse is saying, we need to look carefully how we walk, right? Making the best use of time and everything like that. Because, like the title say, we don't want to rush the climax. On one hand, it's like we ready, for the exposure. We're ready for the judgment. We're ready for the page to turn, X, Y, and Z. Those that feel like they ready, right? But then there's those that aren't ready, right? Here's the thing. Maybe they don't know that they're not ready. Maybe they don't care, it could be a little bit of both, right? But with that being said, right, we have to understand that there's a reason why things are happening the way they are, right? There's a reason why God is taking his time. And when it comes to certain things, like on one hand, people like to say, oh, only God can judge me and all this. But I was like, but do you really want God's judgment though? Because again, if y'all go deeper in the go deeper section, there are these, you're going to see like, for example, let me go ahead and show y'all one, like Isaiah 47. And it don't say no particular verse because I read the entire thing. So if you read that entire thing, I think it's one of those moments where it's like judgment of God on people or at that time or whatever the case is. And it's like, I don't know if that's really what you want. Like all the people that's like, oh, God can judge me X, Y, Z. You can't judge me X, Y, Z. Yeah, but is that are you ready for that? Because I don't think we ready for that as humans, right? So again, I think don't rush the climax. Don't rush the climax. Let me share with y'all this one right here. 2 Peter 3:8-9 says, but do not overlook this one fact, beloved, that with the Lord 1 day is as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as 1 day. The Lord is not slow to fulfill his promise, as some count slowness, but is patient toward you, not wishing that any should perish, but that all should reach repentance. Now listen, like, look, I share my testimony on here all the time. So if I just think about me, right? How long did it take for me to get to this point where I'm at now? Right? Like, I think for me, I'm thankful that, I'm here now, right? But let's just say God was like, you know what? I'm tired of it. Let's go ahead and just end this thing X, Y, and Z some years ago. Then your girl wouldn't have made it, right? Your girl wouldn't be here talking to you right now, like, and all of this. And so if you guys can look at yourself, right, and appreciate God's patience and whatnot for you and me as an individual, then let us give that grace and mercy to other people, right? Because whether y'all know it or not, man, listen, here's another thing came to my heart and mind this morning. I think it's based on something else that happened yesterday evening. Basically, long story short, I was tuning in to Miss Angela Stanton King. She was talking live about the whole what's her name? Her name went away from my mind. The whole Tiffany Haddish and Aries Spears thing. She's gonna go and protest in California. On the kids' behalf and whatnot, that is, trying to fight for justice and whatnot. And so in the midst of that conversation, it's just very interesting how, like, a lot of times, it don't matter what you talk about, conversations start, like, people bring up God, they'll bring up the Bible, they'll bring up things they got issues with. And on one hand, it's like, okay, well, this conversation was about the children and the things that they experienced and, justice for them and the whole, what the case was about. But then a lot of the times, if you just really look at it, it always go back to Bible. It always go back to people and being in their feelings about X, Y, and Z. Now, I bring up that to say that basically, like, I told y'all the other day on Labor Day, right, that my family and we was playing this game. And, I can't remember, talking points. And there are these cards, and it's like kind of like ice-breaking questions, right? And so we're asking questions, and my mom has the Christian game as well. And one of the cards was like, where would you want to go and do like ministry? Like, where would you want to go and yeah, just leave it at that. So where would you want to go and do ministry in the world? And people were saying all these overseas places. But from what I'm seeing, y'all, there's a lot of work that need to be done right here. You know what I mean? Yeah, we need to do things in our homes. Yeah, each family, everybody do things in their homes, right? Teach your children X, Y, and Z in your home, right? But then there's things in our communities that needs to be done. There's things that in our cities and then our states, and it just goes on and on and on like that, right? And so there's plenty of work that needs to be done, because if it wasn't, for example, then people would, like, there's just narratives and things that people want to hold on to and believe, like they heard this or that somewhere, and then they want to hold on to that because they want to like claim something for themselves. Like they don't want to feel like they're forced into anything. And hey, I get it. I get it. And hey, God don't force us into anything. I mean, the Bible is here. You can read it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, there's churches and X, Y, and Z. You can go to them and stuff like that. You can choose to do that or not. You can choose to study and to show yourself approved or not, right? So yeah, I think each and every one of us should do that as individuals as well. But when it comes to ministry and when it comes to all these things, there's plenty of work that needs to be done here, right? Like in your own community and everything like that. I mean, yeah, we might, need to find our own ways to kind of do things here and keep the message going and flowing so people won't be lost, right? Because at the end of the day, how can people come to Christ if they don't hear, right? Say, for example, they never go to church. Well, is there anybody in their life that they've ever met that is an example of Christ to them? I think that's on us, right? And everything like that. And again, I think if we go back to that verse that I just shared here about not overlooking, that basically God is not slow to fulfill the promise. He is just basically patient and everything like that. And then again, we can appreciate that in our own lives. Then yeah, again, let's show that grace and mercy to those that are in our community, those that are in our cities, those that are in our families, and everything like that. Because yeah, like the other narratives are definitely being pushed. So are you out here being a disciple and making disciples? So people, can come to Christ as you did, right? Just things like that, to think about. This also stood out to me to share this morning. It's 1 Thessalonians 5:1-3. Now concerning the times and the seasons, brothers, you have no need to have anything written to you, for you yourselves are fully aware that the day of the Lord will come like a thief in the night. While people are saying there is peace or and security, there is peace and security, then sudden destruction will come upon them as labor pains as labor pains come upon a pregnant woman, and they will not escape. Listen, don't rush the climax, y'all. Don't rush the climax this morning. Like, what else can I even say about this verse? It's telling us, y'all. It is telling us that, hey, people aren't going to be ready for the true judgment, right? They say it all the time. Oh, only God can judge me, whatever. And there's a lot of people calling, hey, God, come on and fix this. There's all this crazy stuff going on in the world. God, would you come on and fix it right now? I'm just saying, there's lots of work to be done. Plenty of look, the harvest is plenty. And like I said, it's plenty in our own homes. It's plenty in our own communities, cities, and states, and all of that right there. So let's not rush the climax, y'all. Let's just get on our jobs and do what we're supposed to be doing, and using our time wisely and everything like that. Yeah, that's what I'm receiving, y'all. That is what I'm receiving this morning. Now, 1 John 2:17 says, "And the world is passing away along with its desires, but whoever does the will of God abides forever." So there you go, y'all. Again, if you want to do something that's going to last, do something worthwhile, X, Y, and Z, then let's understand the times that we're in. Let's understand that, hey, God has given us grace and mercy with every new day. And with that, I'm going to do the will of the Lord. What is the will of the Lord for me this morning? Hey, obviously it was for me to wake up and do the juice. Maybe I'm doing it a little bit later than usual, but hey, to God be the glory. Like, this was what I guess the will of the Lord was for me. I don't know what the will of God is for you now that you guys are listening or hearing this. I hope that you are encouraged and inspired to do whatever it is, because again, the harvest is definitely plenty. There's plenty of people out here still confused about a lot of things when it comes to the Bible, and yeah, there's going to be personal responsibility. Did you study it for yourself, X, Y, and Z? But then there's also a responsibility that we have as believers to do our part and share our testimonies and be witnesses and whatnot for the Lord. And hey, y'all, that's the juice. That's the juice this morning. Y'all can go deeper in the ways that I went deeper this morning. Again, y'all can read those entire sections that are in the Go Deeper section. There's also a couple more verses and whatnot to hopefully, that you guys can peruse and let marinate on your heart, souls, and minds. But the Bible verse of today is Ephesians 5:1. It says, "Be ye therefore followers of God as dear children." Friends, I hope you all enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye.
Hello everyone, it's your girl Miracle Sims, and you already know that your girl is now an author, and my very first publication is none other than a creation inspired by the juice. That's right, friends, you can go on Amazon.com and find the Juice 30-Day Bible Study Journal. And this, friends, I hope and pray will help you create your own Bible study experience similar to the one that your girl here shares with you every day here on God, Sex, and Love.